today. Tonight, that rain chance is at 30% for the evening with a low at 65. Friday, the rain chance is at 30% with a high at 84. Saturday and Saturday night are both expected to be washouts. With news on 103.9 WYAB, I'm Chris Davis. If you are registering to vote, the state will now check to see if you are a U.S. citizen before that process is done under the Safeguard Honest Integrity in Elections for Lasting Democracy Act, which was passed this year and signed into law by Governor Reeves. It goes into effect July 1st and also requires an annual audit of voter rolls to check for citizenship. Another bill that was passed and is becoming law says Mississippi will foot the bill for health insurance for Mississippi National Guard soldiers, and that will be by reimbursing them for TRICARE, which is the insurance that covers U.S. military members. That's expected to cost taxpayers about $4 million a year. Dr. Rochelle Bragney has started her stint as Jackson police chief, and she is taking the academic approach. She says that a team from Harvard is in town to hold meetings and study the perception of crime in Jackson by the people who live here. She also says tackling the actual crime is one of her priorities. If you have kids in the car, this one is kind of rough. A man from Horn Lake was convicted Wednesday of having sex with a dog, and his girlfriend is the one who turned in Tristan Pipkin when she found videos of it on his phone. The DA says it's one of the most depraved cases he's dealt with. No sentence yet for the man. If you're filling up today, you'll pay about $3.68 on average for gas in the state, says Gas Buddy. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them, and are not.
Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show. Happy Thursday, everyone. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios here in Flora, Mississippi. And normally I chit-chat for a second, but just got some breaking news. Clay just texted me. Clay, this better not be a late April Fool's joke. I'm kidding. He sent me the link. So you're hearing it here first, folks. Sounds like Pam Bondi has been put out of the White House and Trump's cabinet. Evidently, she has been fired as Trump's attorney general, according to sources who have confirmed this with Fox News. So, breaking, President Trump has reportedly already fired Attorney General Pam Bondi. Two sources familiar with the matter told Fox News Digital. Bondi met with Trump in the Oval Office on Wednesday night ahead of his speech to the nation on the war in Iran, where she was reportedly informed of her ousting, sources say. The president is reportedly considering replacing Bondi with EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. Again, this is coming from sources familiar with the situation inside the White House, delivering this to Fox News consultants. Interesting. To be completely honest with you, this, to me, I feel has been a long time coming. I was initially a little disappointed with Trump's pick in Matt Gaetz because of all the controversy surrounding him, along with the Epstein files, and then we're going to put a man who has got these allegations of sexual misconduct in the role of attorney general. I didn't think that was a incredibly smart move on his behalf. And so when Matt Gaetz ended up not becoming the attorney general and it went to Pam Bondi instead, of course, I'm cheering her on, hoping that she's going to make a great attorney general. And I don't know who agrees with me, but in my opinion, I just don't feel that she's a very likable person. She comes off as arrogant. The times that I've seen her answering questions in the Senate hearings, it almost seems as though entitled, I guess, is the word that I would use when it comes to her demeanor. and the way that she responds to people, and a lot of times it doesn't seem as though she has the answers to the questions that she's being asked. So I kind of thought this would have happened shortly after the release of the Epstein files and the redactions that they got wrong, and victims' names that weren't redacted like they should have been. And we didn't see that happen. I kept waiting on it. But I guess it's happening now. And I mean, what a time to go out right here at Easter weekend. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this decision on behalf of the Trump administration and his Attorney General Pam Bondi? Is this the right move? 601-879-0002 is the number to the show if you want to call in and discuss this with me, or just let me know how you felt about her as our Attorney General, and who do you think would make the best replacement? What should Trump do now? Who do we put in this obviously extremely important position? You know, one thing I noticed when she did the last round of Senate hearings, when they bombarded her with the questions on the Epstein files, was that she wanted to pass the blame. She wanted to continue to blame past attorney generals, Merrick Garland. Why didn't y'all ask him these questions? Well, that may be so, but that doesn't mean that you don't start off within your administration, within your job as attorney general, doing the best dang job possible. And I think she kind of makes herself look like a joke, talking about bringing in all these influencers and handing them these notebooks saying that the Epstein files are going to be released. And then come to find out there's nothing in these notebooks. And then we get the comment from her that, you know, the list and the files are sitting there on her desk for her to review, but why haven't you already done that? And then, like I said, when the files are beginning to be released, these crucial mistakes being made about redactions, and redactions made that shouldn't have been made, and then parts that should have been redacted that weren't. You know, the responsibility for those things falls directly in her lap. And she didn't really have any kind of valid excuse for why she did not do her job. In that last Senate hearing, I felt she came off, again, entitled, pompous, arrogant, and just unlikable. Now, that is my opinion. I'm sure there are many people that think exactly the opposite of what I do. But that was my impression, and it just didn't seem like anyone around her was taking her seriously, which makes you wonder, did her team, the people working up under the Attorney General of the United States of America, did they take her seriously? I don't know. I think this is a smart move on behalf of the Trump administration. Again, I kind of expected this to happen weeks, if not months ago. But it will be interesting to see who Trump decides to place in this role now that evidently Attorney General Pam Bondi is out. So, 2 women on Trump's cabinet removed at this point. Obviously, I'm sure everyone has been seeing and hearing following the outrageous developments we've seen be made public in the last few days concerning Kristi Noem and her marriage. I personally think that is a very sad situation. I think the devil's in the details. The devil is very much alive in this world, and he preys on people and their sexuality. It's just a fact. That's why we see so many young people confused right now about who they are or how they were made. So I would hate to be in her position where you are this very public political figure and you're having to see your husband all over the front page of the news into whatever fetish he was involved in. I know Sean is loving this. He thinks it's hilarious. He keeps sending me article after article. I don't think it's funny at all. I think it's very sad. Almost makes you wonder if some of that was leaked. Did Trump possibly know that was coming? Did that help make the decision to remove Kristi Noem from her position? So lots of fireworks, it seems, happening over at the White House. I have not had a chance to listen to President Trump's speech last night as he addressed the war in Iran. I'm going to go back sometime this afternoon, hopefully, and listen to that. I have seen some people that I most definitely respect say that they thought he spoke well, that he made good points, that he sounded in control and presidential. But again, I have not yet listened to what he had to say. But breaking news. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been fired from her role, according to sources relaying this information to Fox News. We're going to take a break. Y'all stay with us. Lots more to break down today. We'll be right back here, WIAB 1039, The Lindsey Beckham Show. WIAB 1039, The Lindsey Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue. Small town.
After 28 years, we are closing our brick and mortar location in Canton come November 2025. But fear not, smalltownmusic.com will remain alive and well, and you will still be able to text or call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. We will have a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium, and you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Hey, this is John with MES. That's Mississippi Energy Services. We sell, service, and install all makes and models of home and business generators. One thing that we do different than a lot of other companies is we do all the work ourselves. We don't use subcontractors. We go from the original estimate, the design, to the final product. That way we can control the quality of the job from the beginning to the end. We are online at msenergy.us.
At Flora Animal Hospital, our team doesn't just take care of your pet's needs. We feel like it starts with the pet parents. If the pet parent is informed thoroughly and understands the situation with the animal and why certain things need to be done or certain medications need to be given, it's easier to get that done. Our website is floraanimalhospital.com. It'll take you straight to the online store where your medicine can be purchased, food can be purchased, prescription or non-prescription, and they will be shipped straight to your front door. floraanimalhospital.com.
When leaks, clogs, or cold showers slow you down, call on Anglin Plumbing, the plumbing experts who get the job done right the first time. Leaky faucet, sink, or toilet? Need a water heater installed? Call on Anglin Plumbing. You can always trust Anglin's reliable and hardworking technicians. Don't let plumbing headaches ruin your day. Call on Anglin Plumbing Service to get it fixed. And you can be a part of the team. Anglin Plumbing is now hiring. Learn more about Anglin Plumbing at anglinplumbing.com.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show. I am, of course, Lindsey Beckham. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Of course, you can always find us at WYAB.com and, of course, on your FM radio, 103.9. 50,000 watts across the state of Mississippi, bringing you the latest and greatest here from WYAB. 601-879-0002 is the number to the station if you would like to call in. If you have any comments or questions or things that you would like to say, 601-879-4648 is our text line as well. It is April 2nd, Autism Awareness Month and Autism Awareness Day. I was going to talk more about that before the news broke, right as I sat down, that Pam Bondi has been fired by the Trump administration as Attorney General. I'm not sure Clay might call in. I know Sean might hop on and give his thoughts on this as well, since this is all kind of happening in real time here. I did see in the break, the latest from USA Today says that President Donald Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi after several investigations of his perceived enemies were thwarted and her handling of files related to accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein came under criticism. Her firing represented Trump's second removal of a cabinet official in his second term. Obviously, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was removed in March and replaced with Markwayne Mullin. Bondi will be succeeded temporarily by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Now, lawmakers on both sides of both parties have accused Bondi of botching the release of the Epstein files, which Congress directed in December. The legislation came after Bondi refused last July to release the files, despite Trump and his supporters campaigning for the release of all federal records in the case. The department eventually released about 3 million pages of documents, but left another 2.5 sealed. Blanche said the remaining records either named women who accused Epstein of abuse, could hurt potential prosecutions, or were protected under legal privileges. Of course, the documents have led to investigations in other countries that also include the arrest of Prince Andrew, but no arrests have been made in the United States. Many lawmakers have accused Bondi of cover-up in the Epstein investigation. They've argued that much more should be released. Representative Massey said this is bigger than Watergate. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it. And then Bondi, in turn, called Massey a failed politician. While being questioned about not prosecuting Epstein accomplices, Bondi said lawmakers should appreciate the fact that stock markets were rising under Trump. That produced quite a few skits and memes. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee subpoenaed her to testify on April 14th about the Epstein files. That's the testimony I was talking about in the first segment, where I just feel she came off very entitled, very unlikable. The Justice Department was also sluggish in investigating Trump's perceived enemies. Trump pressured Bondi on social media last September to take legal action against New York Attorney General, former FBI Director, and Senator Adam Schiff. So it's interesting, though, because every time I have seen President Trump talk about Attorney General Pam Bondi, it seems as though he's praising her. Let's see, we got a call coming in. Hey there, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Clay.
Hey.
I was loading that video, Clay Edwards, for the listeners that don't know. I was loading the video. I had to make it real quick and wanted to jump in front of it. You know, it's always best to be first, even if you're not best.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was listening to you, watch you lucky dog, get some big news break while you're on the air like that. I'm never so lucky.
I know. It usually happens right after I get off the air.
Same here, 9 o'clock on the dot, news breaks. So I asked Grok, I said, just give me the top 5 reasons why Republicans, excuse the dogs, they're having fun. So what's the top 5 reasons Republicans were aggravated with Bondi? And obviously Epstein's number one, and the whole goes back to, I call it the trapper keepers that she gave to the influencers that day, that pretty much, they weren't, you know, the media spun it that they had nothing. It was just blank pages. It wasn't nothing, but it was just all the information that was already pre-existing. And then, let's see here. It brought up hate speech, Lindsey, and I forgot about this. Do you remember her getting all wound, you know, getting all in the sights of MAGA over her hate speech comments?
Wait, I think now that you say that, now that you say that, it's triggering a memory, but I had forgotten all about that.
So I had forgotten about it. Here's what it says here. It says, after the assassination of Kirk, Bondi suggested the DOJ would target hate speech that incites violence, that sparked an intense backlash from free speech absolutists in MAGA, who accused her of threatening First Amendment rights. You know, there's two kinds of speech, Lindsey. There's hate speech and there's speech you don't like. But there is no such thing as hate speech. And, man, I tell you what, I haven't been as just gung-ho aggravated about the Epstein stuff, because I guess I'm just whatever over it, you know, to an extent, or over the let's just release it and let's move on from it, or do whatever we got to do. But I'm tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
The hate speech stuff is really something that grinded my gears. And then number 3 was perceived weakness and incompetence. I think that goes without saying, because Bondi's been called lazy and in over her head. And then 4 was failure to aggressively pursue deep state and election-related cases, going back to 2020. I couldn't agree more. You know, we need closure on that, just like we need closure on the Epstein list. Either way, let's just have closure on it. Yeah. And then 5 was just general disappointment as a Trump loyalist. It says, many expected Bondi, a former Trump defender and Florida AG, to be building for the America First agenda. Instead, she's increasingly viewed as part of the Washington machine, over-promising on transparency and accountability while under-delivering. And I think Grok pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
And also something else I threw in my video was the fact that she just seems more concerned with being a Fox News analyst, the next blonde bimbo up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
And that's just, I mean, I'm not hating. There's a lot of really intelligent women there, but Bondi does not sound like one of them.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying in
Can you hear?
the segment. This just comes off as just unlikable.
She really does. And you know, and I'd heard a lot of good stuff about her when she got named to be AG after the Adam Gates thing fell through. And you know, I was kind of pulling for Adam Gates because I thought it would be fun
Matt.
and just kind of own the libs a little bit. You know,
Matt, you
they
mean?
hated him. It's usually a good sign that I like him. But man, you know, he sounded like an absolute idiot the other day on Benny Johnson's show talking about the aliens. I'm not even saying it ain't true.
I can't hear you.
Some things just keep to yourself, you know. And I mean, it very well could be true, and it probably is. But he just came across sounding really stupid
Can hear
for
now.
a guy that was considered.
Yeah, I
Sean,
agree.
you on here too?
Yeah, I
He's
could just,
trying to be.
my sound just worked. So sorry.
I didn't have you
sounds-
turned on
Okay,
yet.
I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I mean, Sean, I know how you feel about Gates, but I just thought that, not to make this about Gates, I just thought that the alien stuff, as much as I love it, just sounded something way beneath anybody that should be considered, that was being considered for such a high-ranking job. There's a guy that was Attorney General from Missouri. His name slips my name, but he's been named the assistant. He's the assistant director of the FBI, and he was actually already named to that position before Bongino even talked about stepping down. And he would be a great replacement in my mind if that's something he's interested in. But they may have him, you know, pegged to take over the FBI altogether when Trump kind of cleans house of his initial appointments.
Yeah. So, Sean, what are your thoughts on Bondi being out?
It's called, what are my thoughts on Bondi being out? Well, I just only had a few minutes to really think about it. It seemed like it was certainly coming. I mean, the knives were certainly out for her. So you know, I just I guess I have a lot of questions. I think some of it, you know, are the job that she did was not good. I think we all saw that. But some of it, I feel like she got blamed for a lot of stuff too that maybe wasn't her fault. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on, you know, because a lot of times everybody becomes, when you're a political appointee, you become the scapegoat. So, you know, I'd like to kind of parse through what exactly was her responsibility versus, you know, what she was ordered to do and that sort of thing. So
What's funny?
like what were the bases were?
That point, I don't think she got fired over Bondi. I think she got fired most likely over not Epstein. I'm sorry. I don't think she got fired over Epstein. I think she got fired over the election stuff, the 2020 election stuff, and deep state. You know, not pursuing the deep state, Trump's enemies. I guess. Long story short.
Oh, is it because you think because there's the grand jury failed to indict those people in D.C.? Is that what you mean, or?
Well, no, just period. Just not going after
The people he didn't
more
like.
of Trump's enemies.
Okay.
You know, perceived, you know, people who were involved in the 2020 election theft, whatever. You know, we haven't gotten any perp walks or anything, and I just think that, you know, I think that's probably what Trump. But I think she fell on the sword on the Epstein stuff and did what Trump told her to do.
That's kind of what I think on that.
Got her fired.
Yeah,
What's
that's my
strange
feeling with
to
that.
me
Too.
is that every time we've seen Trump really speak about her, it seems like he's praising her about a job well done.
I think he says that about everybody, doesn't he? He said that about Kristi Noem until the end. I mean, that's that's not just him, by the way. That's almost every. I mean, you never hear a president kind of crap talk their appointees and then they fire them the next day. I mean, I mean, we've all seen that through, you know, political history, I think.
Yeah, and a second update has come out from Peter Ducey over at Fox that doesn't necessarily contradict the first one, but the breaking news thing I sent both of y'all was saying Trump has reportedly fired Bondi, et cetera, and was going to be replaced with Lee Zeldin. But just a few minutes ago, Peter Ducey comes out and says Bondi will soon step down as Attorney General, transitioning to another role within the administration, and will be replaced in the interim by Todd Blanche. And I'm not familiar with Todd
He's
Blanche.
the assistant. He's the assistant to her right now.
Very similar to the Noem thing, where it was initially reported she was fired, but she's actually being repositioned within the administration as more of a soft landing instead of a "you're out of here" thing.
Yeah, because I mean, I think if you go that route and just say, okay, you're gone, then you start to look at Trump and wonder how good his opinion is because he picked these people. So I guess maybe that is to save face. You have them step down and move them around, keep them there.
I think so. Hey, I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys. I just wanted to call in real quick.
Yeah, thanks.
And just kind of speak my 2 cents on it until Sean got set up. So I'm going to listen to what you guys got to say. Great show. Looking forward to hearing it. And Lucky Dog, you always get some big news.
All right, thanks, Clay. All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so breaking news as I sat down in the chair today definitely was not what I was planning on talking about, but
Yeah, sorry. There's been so much other news that I'm not quite. It feels like Pam Bondi's missteps were eons ago. So
that's
I'm
what I
trying to
said.
remember exactly, to give a really decent analysis on what I think. It's kind of hard because I know, obviously there was the initial missteps that she made with regard to the Epstein files, but I'm kind of on Clay's thought process on that. I feel like she just did what she was told to do. And
that's the thing Clay just said is that, one thing I had forgotten about is after Charlie Kirk's assassination, the comments that she made about hate speech. And so many people were upset with her because they felt as though she was attacking their First Amendment right.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that specifically. What was that about?
She was going to go after and prosecute anyone.
Oh, that's right. Now I do. See,
yeah.
see this, Lindsey, this Iran war and all the other stuff kind of like been in my thought process. And then, of course, Kristi Noem's husband. If I was sending Clay articles from the Daily Beast today about that, and there's just one after the other. I think I sent you a few too. So that
I know, you did that on purpose just to annoy me.
Yeah, well, that's quite a remarkable story about her husband. And so I was kind of looking at that stuff today, and I didn't, expect. Pam Bondi just feels so 1996 at this point. It's like
that's what I said.
It's like, are we really mad at her? We got other stuff to worry about right now. Like maybe this is just a good, maybe that's it right there. This is a good time to get rid of her. Pretty smart move on the president's part, because if you wanted to get rid of her, right now is a great time to do it because nobody really cares at this point. Because right now everybody's looking at the gas prices. And then what happened today with the oil went up to, I think, close to about 114 a barrel. So gas prices are going to go up even more. So people are focused on that, and then the war and what we're going to do there and all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. So then you're like, okay, well, Pam, you're fired. And then everybody just kind of makes like one news cycle, and then everybody forgets about it. So it's actually a pretty good move, politically speaking.
Yeah, that's in the very first segment. That's what I said. I kind of expected this to happen really weeks, if not months ago. I felt like it was kind of looming on the horizon and then just never was followed through with. But I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe was a strategic move on Trump's part. Wait until other things are happening that have the attention of the American people so that it doesn't look like, oops, I messed up and hired the wrong person. But we do got to take a break. Stay with us because I want to. Sean, did you listen to Trump speak last night on the war?
I did, yeah.
You did. I have not had a chance to listen to that yet. So we'll get your thoughts on that. And I know that you are all into the Iran war, so we can pivot a little bit towards that. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here. WIAB 103.9, The Lindsey Beckham Show. Back here, WIAB 103.9, The Lindsey Beckham Show.
.9 WYAB.
Right here in our backyard, sellers trust Purple Wave Auction to move their equipment, from excavators and ag equipment to trucks and specialty trailers. Our no-reserve online auctions help local sellers turn iron into opportunity. You get a dedicated territory manager who knows your operation, your market, and your timeline, backed by nationwide buyer demand, local service, national reach, real results. See why more sellers choose Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com to get started today.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
CBS News special report. Pam Bondi is no longer the Attorney General of the United States. President Trump has fired her.
She will be leaving her post. She has been informed that she will no longer be Attorney General.
CBS's Nancy Cordes is at the White House and tells us Bondi will be offered a new role in the private sector.
He tends to ease them out and put them in another position so that he doesn't have to say that he made a bad choice or that they have been fired.
As for who will be the Attorney General now,
at least temporarily, the job will be taken over by her number two, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was President Trump's lead defense attorney in his hush money trial. So someone who is also proven to be very loyal to the President of the United States.
On Truth Social, Trump called Bondi a great American patriot and loyal friend who faithfully served as Attorney General. He said she did a tremendous job. CBS News special report. I'm Stacey Lynn.
If you had an accident and had your vehicle repaired at the insurance company preferred shop, you might consider calling Clinton Body Shop to schedule a post-repair inspection. 5 of the last 6 cars we inspected were bought back by the insurer or repair shop due to unsafe repairs. Your family's safety and your investment are at risk. You may have a diminished value claim due to repairs. Did your insurance company mention that? In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
At Lakeshore Church, we believe the liberation of the soul is found only in Christ. Hello, I'm Jay Frazier, Senior Pastor at Lakeshore, inviting you to come and worship with us this week. We believe in the 3-cross concept of ministry, the cross of salvation, the cross of separation, and the cross of service, and we believe all of these crosses should be evident in our lives. We're at 6880 South Sidewell Road in Byram. For more information about the ministries, activities, and times of service, go to lakeshorecmc.org.
And be sure to listen to Lakeshore Church's weekly program, heard Sunday mornings at 8 on 1039 WYAB.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregational Methodist Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 1039 WYAB.
Listen to Apples of Gold every Sunday morning at 10.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. 601-879-0002 is the number to the station if you would like to call in and contribute to the show today. We are joined by Attorney Sean Yerkeron. We have been breaking down the latest news out of the White House that Pam Bondi, Attorney General for President Trump, has been fired. She will be replaced in the interim by the Deputy Attorney General. Sean, I know you are all wrapped up in the war, all the details and all the news that you're obsessed with about watching and seeing what's going on. So what did you think about President Trump's speech last night talking about the Iran war?
I didn't. What did I think about it? I don't know. I don't know what he said. Like, I just am not sure because I think this whole thing messaging has been completely confusing this entire time. All I've noticed is that we're, going to end the war in 2 to 3 weeks, and that seems to happen every week. That's the statement that I hear. So I don't.
It's kind of like COVID, 2 weeks to kill the
Yeah, I don't
flatten
know.
the curve.
I think there's a lot of confusing messaging that is coming, and nothing is, and I understand it's a war, and that's, that happens. So I understand that portion. I don't know what, and I don't think that the president needs to necessarily telegraph our strategy to the Iranians, which I think that would be a bad thing. But I think the problem, Lindsay, was that this wasn't communicated to the public from the outset. And even I understand that there was a surprise attack on the leadership, which is fine, and you don't want to telegraph that. But at the beginning, I think there should have been a little bit more. There should have been more explanation to the public exactly what we were doing and how long this would have taken. So it's caused a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of back and forth about how exactly what are the objectives. It seems like I know that the objective obviously would be to end their nuclear capability, which is a good thing. I think that's a good mission to do that. Now there was some mixed messaging about whether there wanted to be a regime change at the beginning or not. Now the president says that was not his goal, and I guess he never explicitly said that at the beginning, so I can't attribute that to him. But I would say that looks like that apparently is not happening. So now I think we're in a situation which is actually, quite frankly, very dangerous because it is which way you go here. And I think that I don't know that he has much of a choice but not to secure those islands and open up the strait. I think he's kind of has to do that at this point. I don't want him to do that, and I'm not
I don't even know what that
obviously.
means. What does that even mean?
Well, there's to simplify it. There's the proposed mission of using the Marines to secure Karg Island is one of the islands that the Iranians control. This is all about opening the Strait of Hormuz, and I think that at this point, God is, me being a former Marine, I just think about those Marines and on that kind of mission, and it scares the crap out of me. But for them, but the problem is if you don't secure the islands with ground troops, then the Iranians are emboldened because they know they can shut down the Strait of Hormuz, which then crashes the global economy essentially, or especially the oil supply. So that's the problem. He's stuck between that. It's like either they're going to make a deal for this, which would be great and beneficial for everybody at this point if you can negotiate some kind of deal, or there's going to have to be some sort of invasion. I mean, that's kind of where we're at now. Like you just can't leave it to to other countries to handle. So we either got to take those islands, open up the strait, or he's going to have to negotiate a deal with the Iranians of some sort.
Hasn't he said that he's been in talks with them, that they've had discussions?
Yeah, and that's where the mixed messaging thing comes from. So he said that, and then they said they've not had any. And I think and to be honest though, I think there's probably a confusion in Iran about who is actually leading the country, because the media has done a really poor job of showing the type of damage that we've actually inflicted on them. We have devastated them. So the many things the president said last night were correct. I mean, we have devastated their military capacity. Now, not fully. I mean, they still have unknown stockpiles of missiles and drones that I think that we have not gotten yet. But that being said, we have rocked their infrastructure, especially in terms of what their leadership structure is. So, I mean, sometimes you're hearing something from this morning. I read statements from the Iranian leader, the Iranian parliament, and then it's the president. So you don't know who's in charge right now. So it's hard to know who Trump and who his team is. Israel, yes. I think that's pretty apparent. Now, I think that we can all agree on that. Israel is in charge, yes. But it's hard to tell who our team is negotiating with. Now, we also have the Pakistanis that are serving as kind of a third-party intermediary, the Turks and the Pakistanis, and I think a UAE as well. And they're kind of passing messages like we're in high school between us and Iran and whoever in Iran they're dealing with. So I don't. That's the confusing. That's causing a lot of mixed messaging where somebody in Iran says we never talked to them, and then somebody's a little bit lighter in their messaging. So I guess they have to figure out exactly who has the authority to shut it down on the Iranians' end, and I have no idea who that is, and I don't think we really know that. The United States doesn't know that yet. So
Right.
that's the part. When you blow up the leadership, which is great. Don't get me wrong. There's a power vacuum that's currently trying to be filled by different factions, it seems.
I feel like there's always somebody right there ready to and willing to step into that role once you
Well,
take
everybody
out.
wants power, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't turn out so well for the last guy in power, but
No, 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 no. If you're the Ayatollah, you're. I don't know that if he got the 72 virgins or not. I think that's the. I don't know if he got that
you're
or whatever.
speaking a different language.
Well, that's that's the part of the radical Islamic thought process is that you'll get 72 versions upon your death. Anyway, never mind. But everybody out there knows what I'm talking about. If you're old enough from 9/11, remember all the jokes about that.
I remember
But
9/11.
yeah, no, I mean, so you take him out, and then his son, and then nobody's really seen the son in public. But I guess you can't blame the son because he's probably like, I'm going to get a missile shoved up my butt if I'm in public. So you don't know if he's in charge or the president is in charge or the head of the Republican Guard there. I don't, it's a confusing situation. I think the president is legitimately trying to negotiate with them and come to a resolution because I don't think that he necessarily wants to do a ground invasion, which the kind of casualties that we're going to incur is going to be significant and it's going to be very hard for the public to take. So that is, I think, probably the last thing he wants to do. I know that would be the last thing anybody wants to do, but I think if they can't come to some sort of a deal, I don't know that we're going to have a choice but to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Of course, what we absolutely don't want is any sort of anything happening on our soil over here in America. I've watched. There's a season 2 on Netflix of New York detectives, and they did a whole show on talking with the first responders of 9/11, and it just brought all that back. And I don't understand all this talk and war between the different countries and who's friends with who and who's not. That's way above my pay grade, obviously. But I know I want to keep anything like that from ever happening here again.
Well, yeah, I mean, the president did make there were some statements he did say last night. They're absolutely true. And one thing he said was that, this should have been handled in the last 47 years, and it wasn't. And he's not wrong about that. He The Iranians do not need to get a nuclear weapon. They are crazy radical Islamists that have funded terrorism throughout the Middle East for decades. So those things are all true. The thing here now, though, is how do we accomplish that goal? Apparently, the strikes on Fordo last June didn't accomplish all of it. Like they had let everybody on to believe that this didn't happen, or we wouldn't really be where we are now. So there's a stockpile of uranium that we want to get, and that's going to assume be part of any negotiations of if the Iranians can keep that. If not, the other plan, as I've read, is to send a team in there to extract that. And you can imagine the thought process, I'm sure everybody out there, of what kind of a dangerous mission that is going to be to accomplish to actually get the uranium out of Iran with a team of Marine soldiers, special forces, who are, Navy SEALs. I'm not exactly sure who the team is, but that's what would need to be done. That's on top of actually securing the islands to reopen the strait. So you kind of have a twofold mission there.
Bourbon Diplomacy says, Sean, do you allow the prosecution to know your defense strategy? And then he said that Clark Island and the Straits of Hormuz are two separate issues. 'Cause that's definitely
Well,
for you.
they're actually linked, and there are several islands, as a matter of fact. So they're absolutely linked, and those securing the islands, not just Karg, I use that as an example, are going to be essential to opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now, no, I'm saying I don't think you telegraph a strategy. I'm just not sure they have one yet. Is the problem, because they did not. Now, while the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz has always been a gamed out military situation for decades, I think they informed the president that it wasn't as much of a significant risk as it became this time. So now I think I don't think they exactly know which way they're going to go. Maybe they do. I hope they do. I hope they do. But it doesn't look like that at this point. So.
I know what I don't like to see is how much it cost me to fill my car up with gas last night. But on that note, we got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to wrap things up on this Thursday before Easter here on WIB 103.9, The Lindsey Beckham Show. Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We've got just a few moments remaining here on the show today. Again, breaking news as soon as I walked into the studio that Pam Bondi has been fired from the White House. I don't think that comes as a huge shock to a lot of people. I think that's kind of something that we were all waiting on. Locally, it looks as though our legislative session here in Mississippi may end today. They may sine die and gavel out. We'll have yet to see if any special sessions will be called. But I think they are hoping to wrap things up by the end of the day today. They have extended the session through April 15th should they need that extra time. But I think they are probably all ready to go home. We did get a teacher pay raise. They did finally agree to a $2,000 teacher pay raise. So we'll see that implemented next year across the board. I'm not sure what else productive came from this session, but there is always next year. Hope everyone has some time planned to spend with their family over Easter weekend, and we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place right here. See you then. Bye.